Now, let's return to our top story this afternoon. The government has given the go-ahead to a new high-speed rail link costing £32 billion between London and Midlands and eventually north of England, with trains running at speeds of up to 225 miles an hour. The first phase, costing £17 billion, will almost halve the journey time between Birmingham and London. But is it worth it? Joining us now is Sam Bowman, Head of Research at the Adam Smith Institute. Good afternoon to you. Thanks very much. Is it worth it?
No, it's not, and if it was worth it, the government wouldn't have to pay it. The fact that the government is having to stump up £17 billion and ultimately £32 billion worth of taxpayers' money for this project shows that it isn't worth it. It's very unlikely to make any material change to the north-south divide. It's very unlikely to materialise the economic benefits the government is predicting, and even if it does, it won't be until 2043. We're talking about spending money today, spending money in the next decade for benefits. Even if they do come around, they aren't going to come for another 30 or 40 years.
Yeah, you mentioned the £32 billion figure. They say, the government say, that it'll deliver benefits of some £47 billion. You say you don't think it will. What's that based on? What evidence do you have?
Well, the government's projection is based on quite a number of non-economic benefits that it claims will make this project worthwhile. But if we look at the last time that there was a high-speed rail link in the UK, which is between London and the Channel Tunnel, it overestimated passenger numbers by 3 times what actually turned out to be the number. And in fact, they ended up selling the high-speed rail line for less than half of what they had put into it. So if we see something like that for this project, the government and the taxpayer ultimately is going to lose a lot of money. The reason that we don't think that this is worth it is because the government is trying to anticipate economic patterns in 20 or 30 years' time. Really, the government, if it knows what's going to happen tomorrow in the economy, we'd be surprised. It certainly doesn't know what's going to happen in 30 years' time.
But the announcement's been welcomed up and down the country by businesses. They say that to not do this would put our global competitiveness at stake.
There are some businesses who are in favour of HS2. There are a number who aren't. The Institute for Directors has been very strongly against this. And in fact, I think most businesses that stand to gain from it are the ones who are immediately going to be getting the money. The people who you don't hear are the taxpayers. They're the people who are going to be hit every year. Ultimately, the £32 billion is going to cost each household in this country £1,500. That's a big number. That's going to affect a lot of households. But it's something you don't hear. Concentrated benefits will get loud advocates, but the dispersed costs are going to hurt people.
It's a big number, but lots of people are also going to benefit from it, aren't they? When you hear about the capacity, talking about trains that currently carry 400, going up to 1,100. Lots of taxpayers will benefit from shorter journey times.
I think that the real challenges facing the rail network and the transportation network aren't going to be solved by kind of white elephants like this. Really, this is a glamorous project, but it's not one that's going to have many material benefits, except for quite rich commuters between London and Birmingham. The reality is, if we look around the world, we look at high-speed rail lines, almost all but 2 of them around the world are subsidised by the government. So what high-speed rail really means is a long-term, quite substantial subsidy from the taxpayer to this project for the sake of votes and for the sake of the government appearing to be favouring the north-south divide. In fact, what it should be doing is deregulating, cutting back the state and allowing the north to prosper as it once did without the burden of London-centric regulation, which is holding down a lot of northern businesses right now.
OK, Sam Bowman, we must leave it there. Thanks very much indeed for your time.
Thank you.